And welcome on in, everyone, to a Grip TV broadcast. And look who it is. It's Judson Kane. How are you, Judson?
Doing well, Matt. I know this is a shocker to finally see my face. Judson Kane here on a celebration for Suzuka 79 Lotus Grand Prix, third week of our rendition. It's going to be a fantastic race. There's going to be some consistency between Sao Paulo and Suzuka and VIR. We're going to talk about that and nevermore in any of the other races that we're going to see today. It's all going to come down to driver patience and knowing when to attack. How are you doing today, Malone?
Oh, doing great. And we got all the Grip TV Nation in here ready to watch this classic Lotus Grand Prix race. And we got Jimmy B just getting ready here. He's just waiting for that server to open so he can get on in there and thrash it around. And we got a lot of people checking in. Super D Amiro Ryan's checking in, and Lucky is in there in the Grip TV Nation. Here we go. This is going to be exciting. Yeah, lots of talk on the forums about stuff. Standing starts. Wanted to go over a couple things. I know you know quite a bit about the Suzuka circuit, but I don't even know where to begin. Where do you want to begin, Judson?
Well, the first most important aspect that I think I wanted to talk about is the different driving styles that are going to come into play with the Suzuka circuit. You know, what we've witnessed in week two and week one, we've seen the likes of Hauer, we've seen the likes of Espeland and Francois Boucault and Matt Prux, and it's amazing to see the different driving talent that's there. You know, I had a recent conversation with Hauer over the aggressiveness of his driving and the unpredictability of this car. And what we failed to recognize in this last race in his campaign at Sao Paulo was that even though that he puts the attack onto somebody and is not complacent with taking the defensive line and being in the position that he's at, he attacks right away. He was a big gainer with 8 positions that he gained this last race in Sao Paulo. So I'm looking to see if he's in this race, he's going to be the big one to see in the gains here at Suzuka.
Yeah, we got lots of names to keep our eye on here. This league, they're just full of some really good guys here. And I was on the forums earlier today, and it looks like Matt Pulowski, one of the real fast guys out there, having some issues with the start. These are standing starts with these Lotus races, and he uses an H pattern shifter. He keeps it in first gear. Now, there is a parking brake that's engaged by iRacing, and what happens, I guess, is sometimes that parking brake disengages, and he'll either roll back or roll forward. And now, if you roll backwards, you don't get a penalty, but if you roll forward, that counts as a false start. And some of the guys like Roy Cunningham were checking in on the forums. These guys got a good community trying to help each other out. And he just kind of explained about how the parking brake works in iRacing, where it's fully engaged until you until you press like your throttle or clutch or anything. So you really got to be set and ready with your feet so that parking brake doesn't disengage. And some of the guys I was reading, they just smash both the clutch and the brake just to make sure that doesn't happen because they've been bitten before with the stop and go penalty. So it's something to watch. You know, these starts of these races are so important. These guys are trying to get out ahead, trying to pick up a couple of positions really quick right off the bat.
Yeah.
So it's definitely going to be something to see whether or not everyone can get a nice, clean, good start and no penalties.
Well, and one of the big gainers from Sao Paulo, Jimmy himself, was able to gain like something crazy, 4 or 5 positions off the start just by rolling through his clutch the proper way. It's going to be incredibly important as we engage into Suzuka. You know, they're going to be going down the front straight into the first turn, is what the Japanese call it, the first turn, which I would call the entrance to hell of Suzuka.
Yeah, that's about right.
Jockeying for positions early on is going to be incredibly important as they start to get into race pace throughout this track. Now, I spoke to Jimmy earlier on today over coffee, and you know, he believes that there's going to be a lot of overtaking that happens on the hairpin right at about turn 10. And you know, I'm gonna go out there and say that we're also going to see people overtake coming into Spoon Curve up on turn 13 before they hit the back stretch of 14. And I'm also going to say that I'm going to see some overtaking at the Casino Triangle as well as first turn. But unlike Sao Paulo, this track is narrow. The line is very rigid. You have to take it right through most of this course. Overtaking will be a premium. So as you watch this today, just make note that, you know, it's going to be a very well-earned overtake to gain positions here. The S curves, Jimmy mentioned this. There's only one line through the S curves, and I think it's possible that these cars could go too wide, but it's going to slow down the pace for those two people battling, and so it's going to open the door for people behind them to catch up. I bet you we're going to see a lot of that. So the start's crucial. How these guys fare, safety rating, so that they can maintain, optimal season points throughout the season of this thing as this all wraps up. It's all going to be important, and it's all coming down to the Suzuka track.
Yeah, it really is. And what I'm looking for is whether or not how defensive these guys are going to be going into turn one. I know that blocking can sometimes be an issue with guys switching lanes too many times, and that can be controversial. But you look for the guys going into turn one, trying to take that inside line as a defensive strategy. Because I can imagine if you hang it out left, you're just going to get torn up. You're going to get taken over. So look to see that definitely early on as these guys are battling off the start. But yeah, it should be pretty exciting. And this race is going to be getting underway in just a couple minutes. Holy cow, you found the right place, folks. This is Grip TV, and this is the classic Lotus Grand Prix with Jimmy B and Judson Kane. There he is, buddy. Give me a wave. Look to your right. Hey, buddy. No, the other way. And we got to say hello to the Grip TV Nation out there. They're all in chat. Lucky PSD, one of the moderators in chat. He makes a pretty good comparison as far as what this is all about. And I just want to read it here because it is pretty funny. Lucky PSD saying, dang, I can't find it now. Oh, driving this car is like jumping on the back of a sumo wrestler. You got to hang on as it wiggles around until it finally kills you.
Whoa,
So
Lucky.
that's Lucky's comparison there, and I think that's a pretty good comparison. Is these cars are wild to ride and hold on to, and all that stuff. So it should be fun. And the sun is shining, so me and Judson got our shades on because the future is bright.
Grip TV Nation, we're right around the start of this race. I can't wait to see you on the track. Be ready to go. This is going to be a busy one. My mouth is going to be rambling far more than you've seen in the past. And I only look forward to watching this race with you, Grip TV Nation, as well as you, Matt Malone. It's always a pleasure. See you in a minute.
All right, sounds good. As we're just going to get loaded up here, so please stand by as we get this thing going. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Hit that follow button, for goodness sakes. That way you'll never miss a race. And these are found right here on Twitch, also for any content on demand. Go ahead and check the links below for the YouTube and Twitter. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter because every time I upload something on YouTube, it spams Twitter, so then you know right away. But we're going to take just a small break, just a couple minutes here, and we're going to get loaded on in to into Suzuka for this classic Lotus Grand Prix. Judson's getting all ready. He's getting his hands nice and warm, and we'll be right with you, folks. Hold on. Alrighty then, welcome on in everyone. We got it loaded up. We made our way to Suzuka, and we're all in the broadcast booth, and we're ready for this race right here as we take a look at some track conditions here. And 17 turns at Suzuka here, 3.5 miles. Weather conditions, it's a little bit overcast out there, folks, so you can just leave your sunscreen at home, as there's no need for no risk of a sunburn out here. Overcast skies at 71 degrees, track temperature 76 degrees, and wind speed 5 knots out of the north, not so bad. So how will the overcast conditions and the lower track temperature come into effect, do you think, Judson?
You know, man, I'm going to be straight up honest with you. I don't think that that's going to play any factor into their tires. It's all going to be coming down to how these guys are going to be able to pace themselves, not engage in too many battles, because the friction of throwing your car around is going to heat those bad boys up too fast. And as we saw in Sao Paulo with Jimmy, when you engage too much in battling and you don't manage your tires, it can be race over.
As these guys are getting finished up with their little warm-up session here, as we take a look at the starting order and these guys' I rating, as Matt Pawlowski will be, I believe he's going to be, or Moreira is going to be starting this with a one-off here, as these guys go ahead and get gridded up. And we did talk about the standing start here. It's going to be interesting to see if these guys are able to get off to a clean start as they load on up into the grid right now. Matt Pawlowski is going to be sitting pole, and Moreira, Cunningham, Gerber, Doby, Hill, Boscus, Simpkins, Broadbent starting 9th, Winfield rounding out your top 10. We got a total of 18 Lotus drivers here on the grid, and as they get going here, take it away, Judson, for this Lotus Classic 79 race.
Again, listen to how those motors are purring, the anticipation for this race to start. It is Thursday, a fantastic day today here in Suzuka, Japan. We got the cars lifted over to Suzuka in time for this race, and finally it's Thursday and we get to watch some awesome racing. As green light comes off, the cars come racing out. Jimmy Broadbent jockeying for position. So far complacent with the position he's at. As the guys are going too wide into the first turn on the way, the entrance to the Suzuka Hell, the S-turns, a little bit of oversteer. Fabian Gerber battling the likes of Sam Doby. Doby showing signs of trying to get even with him over in the S-turns.
Yeah, that's right. Great start by the guys up front here, able to get single file here, heading into the S's. Fabian Gerber trying to hold off Sam Doby.
Yeah, Matt Pawlowski already starting to reign his terror as he's running away with it early. Power sliding through the sharp 9th turn on his way over to the hairpin. These cars already exemplifying all aggression as people are starting to get ready to break into the hairpin area. Sam Doby getting a nice little run on the number 10 of Fabian Gerber, who's been defensive, showing oversteer as he jumped on the acceleration too fast. Boscus, a familiar name, just looming behind in 7th place, getting ready to make his attacks as his car's warming up. These things are a different beast when they're cool.
Yeah, Gary Larson, Barry West, and Richard Ross there heading through the hairpin. We're like 3 wide on exit. They're all... Hopefully, they're glad they got out of there unscathed, but holy cow, that's a battle for 14th. As we check in at 11th place battle with Bryce, Mark, and Julio. Looks like Mark's going on the inside here.
Mark Winfield complacent and going on that high-speed turn, being careful not to wreck his race on the first lap. Boy, is the Casino Triangle a wicked combination of turns. First gear as they're trying to get a hop down the front stretch.
And Matt Pawlowski out with a 3-second lead already on Nuno Moreira, as Roy Cunningham running 3rd, Fabian Gerber 4th, but has some pressure with Sam Doby, and Jimmy Broadbent able to get into 6th place here. This is lap 2, 25 laps remaining here. We're just getting underway.
Sam Doby making peaks Had different kinds of line styles through the S-turn, something that we thought only everybody would be all right taking the same kind of line. He's peaking on the inside of Gerber, applying a maximum amount of pressure. Can Gerber live up to this kind of pressure and still maintain his race line? This is going to be interesting. They're coming on their way through turn 9, on their way into the hairpin and turn 10. Gerber holding his own as Dobie's doing everything that he can to apply some pressure, show that he wants to attack now. Gerber, give him a mistake, and he's going to capitalize. Sam Dobie driving magnificently.
Yeah, no doubt, but guess who is back there just waiting for these guys to spread on out is Jimmy Broadbent, and he's just watching this Fabian and Dobie little battle here as he's trying to pick his moment.
Gerber again
Gerber taking a very shallow line through the spoon as the back stretch. He goes even with Gerber. Dobie even with Gerber. He's already passed up on him. He's taking the inside line, complacent understanding of turn 15. High-speed turn. You can go full speed. The number 2 car, Sandobi, ducks in behind Gerber. Following up. Stays in line as they're going through the Casino Triangle. I'm just waking up, folks. This is amazingly fast cars here. My mouth can't keep up with the thoughts that are going through my head as these two are battling on down to the front stretch.
Well, a good move, a good decision by Sam Dobie there, heading into 130R, just to let off a little bit. He knew Fabian had the run at it, but here they go, heading into turn 1 and 2, single file, and Jimmy's right there, getting a little bit of oversteer there.
The battle between Fabian Gerber and Dobie reminds me of Espelin and Francois Bucos. This could be a battle that's going to happen the entire race. However, Suzuka's going to be far more punishing on those tires as they're ripping through these 3rd gear, 4th gear floater S-turns. Man, Dobie's really under pressure in the rear bumper of Gerber. Again, it's not relentless. He's really looking to force Gerber to make a mistake. And Dobie's off into the sand. He overdrove it out of the S's.
Yep, and we saw that, and that gives Jimmy Broadbent a 5th position there over Sam Dobie. So a little bit of luck there early on, and getting us some good positioning as hopefully he can steady on in and log some laps here.
What a fantastic topic bringer-upper right there is the idea of patience on this track. This track makes you want to be patient. You have to be patient in order to complete this race and get a good positioning. Attacking, you have to find the right time to attack, and you want to make sure you're on the rear bumper of these cars when the attack opportunity arises because they're few and far between. Driver patience is not normal for drivers. In fact, it exerts a lot of mental energy in order to be patient because it's natural that you want to pass up the driver in front of you and race your line the fastest. This track, however, does not agree with that. It makes you fall in line, and it's not easy. It's going to exemplify driver discipline, as it looks like Bucos took a peek on the inside of John G. Hill, the number 4 car, but fell back in line as they're on their way up to the Casino Triangle.
Yeah, and we were taking a look at a battle that was brewing there between Barry West and they kind of filtered out a little bit. But yeah, taking a look at John G. Hill, he's got a points kiss. We saw Vasquez running a really long qualifying session, so really trying to do the best he can out here. Saw him in practice, was able to throw down some really good laps. But right now he's running 8th place, working on John G. Hill, and that gap is only a half a second now.
And looming in the background, Matt, is Julius Caesar Hauer, a guy that I was able to speak to in between this week's race and last week's race. As I mentioned, he's going to be the high flyer that we're going to see big gains from his aggressive driving style. This guy has wicked display of skills that I have not seen anywhere else. He's very talented, and he's already gone up 6 positions from the start and is currently in 10th.
Yeah, that's right. 6 positions. Oh, and he goes wide. Oh, Julio Caesar going wide there. Doesn't hit anything. Spins it around. He's going to lose a position, but still being able to pick up 5 spots there since the start, pretty dang good. And Fabian is getting pressure from Jimmy.
Jimmy Broadbent pulling in the leash of Fabian Gerber. Gerber already been on the defense against Sam Dobie.
Yeah, they're coming out of the spoon right now. Jimmy looks like he got a pretty good exit there.
Fabian Gerber needs you can attack him hard and he still drives his line well. It shows a lot of driver discipline. Jimmy Broadbent
as he's getting closer into Fabian Gerber. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of attacks and tricks he can play on Fabian Gerber to secure an overtake.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, Broadbent maybe just looking in his rearview mirror at Dobie and just making sure that he keeps a good gap as looking kind of back in the field there. Bosca's still working on John G. Hill. Was able to, let's see what kind of lap times they're getting now as they're coming around, finishing out 3 laps here. That's Suzuka.
Boscas diving into the inside was not close enough to overtake on turn 1. However, he falls back in line as they're completing turn 1. First turn into the S's. Boscas, a familiar name, attacked Espelin throughout the entirety of Sao Paulo race. Wasn't able to accomplish it against Espelin for the podium position. Today it looks like he's out with teeth. Coming down, bearing down on John G. Hill. And as the S's pan out, is he going to overtake at the hairpin?
Yeah, and we got some battles everywhere. We're keeping our eye on Boscas right now, working on John G. Hill. But earlier in the back there with Gary Larson and Mark Winfield, man, these guys are having a heck of a race as Randy Sanchez is trying to hold off Bryce Simeon and Mark Winfield. That is for the 11th position. Man, lots of good battles here.
Randy Hatches driving through the smoke from Julio Cesar Howers power sliding through these turns, trying to maximize as much speed as possible, going through the turns, trying to catch up to that of Robert Simpkins. He's dancing with this car. The throttle inputs have been absolutely fantastic as all these drivers have been showing quite a display. The number 7 car, Bryce Simeon, peeking on the inside as they're on their way into Spoon Curve. Oh, and it forces
Randy Sanchez spins it around.
Sanchez around.
Able to not come in contact with any of those guys. He's going to lose 2 positions. Going to get it back on the track there. He's got to be real careful now because his tires are a little warm. As we head back on Bryce Simeon trying to hold off Mark Winfield. You know, we briefly talked about it earlier in the race, or earlier before the race, and just building up to this race and how big and how important it is. I believe that we did have some keys to success here, and I got them up now. Judson's theories of success. The first one is patience, rear tires, and then a good start. So I think we've seen some of that today. I know it's something to look for.
Yeah, the patience is going to play out. We've already seen Sam Dobie as a fall victim to the lack of patience as he was pressuring hard on Fabian Gerber, putting up on the bumper, not ready to see how Fabian Gerber was going to exit the S's. Patience, it's really going to allow you to be in the position when that small opportunity for an overtake is possible. And if you're not patient, causes spin-outs. Rear tires, as we saw in Sao Paulo. Sao Paulo, when they've been battling as far as the battle's sake go, has been thrilling to watch. However, these tires will get burnt up, and as they start touching degrees of 220 degrees, 230 degrees, as Boscas almost spun out, those tires never return back to normal temperature very easily because there's so much damage being waged on by the drivers as they're trying to get the best lap times possible. The demands of Suzuka is only going to push these temperatures super high, so you have to manage how those rear tires heat up and make sure that you stay in a normal rate to keep your pace up.
Yeah, and as far as a good start, I mean, I'm pretty sure most of these guys did have a good start, so maybe they got their parking brake issues taken care of. But, yeah, just a great race all around. What do we got?
Matt Malone, Sam Dobie peeking on the inside of Jimmy Broadbent. He got a big run out of the triangle around the front straight. They're going through the first turn. Broadbent able to hold off Dobie, but Dobie making big gains. Dobie taking it shallow out of the exit of first turn. Now making a big run with oversteer into the S turns as Jimmy's just driving his line, making his car as wide as possible so that Dobie can't peek into the inside of Broadbent through these S turns and force a mistake.
Yeah, coming through the S's, you can see all the different types of lines that these guys try to work here as they get through there. Very difficult to know when to brake, know when to throttle. And, yeah, it's just real interesting to see those guys go through the S's here, especially with a machine like this. Whoa, Sam Dobie gets really loose coming there out of turn 9, heading into the hairpin now.
Jimmy Broadbent's throttle inputs, brake inputs have been a bit more frantic as Sam Doby's been bearing down on his rear end. As you can see, they're both scattering as they're trying to get on the acceleration on the hairpin to get separation between Jimmy and Sam. But Sam able to respond, keeping that distance very close. Jimmy touched grass before he got into the hairpin. A lot of the driving line, you can tell that he knows that Sam Doby's there and that Sam Doby is in with striking distance. It creates an unsettling feeling into the gut of yourself as you're trying to just get through the laps in these 79 Lotuses here at Suzuka.
Yep, 20 laps to go. Battle for 5th position continues. The Ray Johns Broadbent's trying to hold off Doby here, but guess what? Fabian Gerber is not too far ahead. He's heading through the triangle right now. Jimmy pretty close, but Jimmy's trying to hold off Doby.
Doby's got a hell of a run out of the triangle, Casino Triangle. He chooses to go on the inside of Jimmy. He falls back in line just to get some draft opportunity down to first turn. This is going to be it, folks. Sam Doby is either going to peek on the inside at the last second and try to brake late. Jimmy does a defensive move, trying to make sure that his body's in front of Sam Doby so that he cannot brake late. He did a successful job there. That was beautiful. Sam Doby, shallow, now back in line. Here they go through the S's.
Yeah, Doby, there's nothing he could do there, just backing off after Jimmy, like you said, did a really good move there, trying to make his car as wide as possible. Doby with the smart move to just back off.
Doby is showing signs, similar driving styles of Howard, super aggressive, wants the attack now, wants to gain the position. It makes for exciting racing. And Jimmy, all he can do is play smart defensive moves, racecraft in order to ensure that Sam Doby can't take advantage of a mishap.
Yep, and just checking in on Bryce Simeon is trying to hold off Mark Winfield for the 11th position. Another close battle is Gary Larson trying to hold off Richard Ross. Richard Ross trying to go to the outside there, coming out of the hairpin. Holy cow. As we got battles everywhere, folks. This is a wild race. Winfield looking to go... Jimmy's got a pretty good lap now. Maybe Doby had a mistake.
Doby had a bit of oversteer coming through turn 9 on the way to hairpin, had a bit of oversteer that he had to correct, and he laid off his throttle in order for the car to catch. He did that successfully, however, there was a time impact against Jimmy. I want you to note, Matt Malone, is that Matt Pawlowski, who's been dominant the last 3 races that we've been covering, has only been able to get 5 seconds away from Nuno Moreira. Moreira got it back to 4 seconds in the first 3 laps or so. Matt Pawlowski has been showing that he can just drive away in the last races. However, Nuno's been keeping it somewhat close. Maybe this is it where Pawlowski's going to see some pressure here at Suzuka.
Yeah, and Pawlowski, I mean, he's really kind of set sail here early on, but like you said, Moreira keeping him honest as the gap is 5.7 seconds right now. Matt Pawlowski able to put down a 150.8 his last lap, so really proving to be the top of the tier here for the Lotus.
These drivers are falling in line. They are embracing their tires, trying to be sensitive to the car's mechanics without them causing too much damage throughout this race. It's interesting to look as you see these cars, Grip TV faithful, look at the different camber options that people have set up in between the cars that we see as they're racing around. Mechanical grip is going to reign supreme here with these 79 Lotuses, similar to what we saw in the endurance races in the R Factor series that Matt and Jimmy put on. Mechanical grip can ruin you if it's not set up correctly with these big, massive, meaty tires.
Yeah, that's very correct. I know these guys are working pretty hard on their setups, getting them just right as we watch Sam Doby as John G. Hill right on the back bumper there coming out of the hairpin. And this is a 3-way battle for 7th position between Doby, Boskus, and Simpkins.
John G. Hill showing glimpse of brilliance. Robert Simpkins, Boskus, all of them. As you know, Robert Simpkins has been fairly defensive, been able to be on his own, driving a solid race line. John G. Hill trying to catch up.
Yeah, this could actually turn into a 4-way battle here as Sam Doby is getting caught up to Simpkins here. Holy cow, these guys are going crazy. Look how late they're breaking into the circus triangle. Holy cow. As they're able to get those cars slowed down just in time to be able to make that move where you're not you don't have a whole lot of downforce at that speed to be able to get around that turn. So, like you said, mechanical grip very important in certain spots. But then, and they head into turn 1, and it's just a high flying turn there.
Now, as we are into the later laps, Gene Francois Boscus is now lined up behind Broadbent as he's trying to catch up to Broadbent. We could see another repeat battle from Sao Paulo here.
Yep, that's a 8.8 second lead that Broadbent has on Boscus. And Broadbent running in 4th position, looking good out there. But like you said, 17 laps to go. Boscus, he's a charger, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that for sure, as that could be played out some drama.
Fabian Gerber, once in the 5th place position, now down in 9th, is chasing the likes of John G. Hill. Fabian Gerber now on the attack, as we've seen him already on defense. What can you do here as they're heading into the hairpin?
Well, the best thing to do here is just kind of do some homework on the guys in front of you, see what kind of lines they're running, see what, how much they're thrashing it around, and just wait till you get caught up. And when you get caught up, then you'll be able to know how to make your move. Try to pick the best spot of the track that's your favorite, that you're the best at, and go from there.
Sam Doby able to leverage spoon curve in a far superior way, more efficient than that of Robert Simpkins as he goes on the inside. He was able to pass Robert Simpkins as Robert Simpkins was held up with lap traffic. Man, he came from over a second behind. He was able to break far less than Simpkins, carry the speed through spoon curve, and somehow was able to maintain on the inside and pass Robert Simpkins in flash of brilliance as Robert Simpkins was stuck in the bumper of a lap traffic. Unbelievable.
Wow, we're just taking a look at the replay, how he just blew by him there on the inside. Like you said, lap traffic had some play into there, but man, coming out of that spoon, you really got to be on the inside, hit that apex. Otherwise, you're going to have some issues, as we just saw. Wow, great pass.
Simone Pancree just trying to allow this faster traffic go by. It would be difficult trying to get into Casino Triangle as these race car drivers are flying by him. He does a great job staying out of the way. Fabian Gerber back on the charge.
Yeah, and as we say that, Simpkins is on the charge for Doby, as that's only less than a second of a gap. But Bryce Simeon, Winfield right on the back of Simeon, heading into turn 1. There's just so much going on. Judson, I don't know where the heck to look here. I wish we had a better camera angle, but we got our interns out there working as hard as they can. We go through them pretty fast here at Grip TV, but we're trying to get all you the best angles of the live race in action here as we can, as we're just at 16 laps to go here in the classic Lotus Grand Prix right here on Grip TV. Don't want to miss out. Stay tuned, folks. This is nuts. We got some battles going on. Bryce Simeon, Winfield going at it.
Yeah, and Pawlowski still hasn't been able to gain time from Nuno, so it'll be interesting to see if Nuno, with that number 1 plate, able to start reeling Matt Pawlowski in. Jimmy Broadbent, starting at around 9th position, is up into the 4th place. Big gains for him. Julius Caesar Hauer up 6 positions to 10th. Some of the big gains in this race. Fantastic.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, not the most beautiful day out here as we got overcast skies, but man, it's just great being out here on the racetrack and seeing these guys really rip and roar through this track here, which is very difficult. I don't know if any of you guys tried this out in the GT3 series recently, but it's a little bit different with these Lotuses, and I know a lot of people struggle there with any type of car. Beautiful track, great track, very, very hard. So it's just amazing to see these guys, especially a Matt Pawlowski out here who just gets that green flag, he sets his sail, and he says, see you later, because he wants to win this thing. But like you said, Nuno Moreira, he's coming around the hairpin right now. The gap is slowly decreasing, so we're going to have to keep our eye on that for sure. But Roy Cunningham, a beautiful showing here with the number 11 car, running 3rd place. Good showing by him. And of course, our very own Jimmy Broadbent running 4th place. Gene Francois Boscus running 5th. Sam Doby 6th. Robert Simpkins 7th. John G. Hill 8th place, trying to hold off Fabian Gerber. Gerber's running 9th place. And Julio Cesar Hauer rounds out your top 10.
Matt, actually, as things are developing, it looks like it's actually Robert Simpkins defending the likes of John G. Hill. Robert Simpkins got some separation from Doby as Doby is making a charge after that brilliant overtake on spoon curve. John G. Hill, as we know, has been attacking ever since, but has been very careful not to wreck his race. His driving has been rather brilliant.
Yeah, we got a lot of people watching live here right on Twitch, and man, they just can't believe how these Lotus 79s almost drift around every corner, and that's why it's so much fun out here, folks. Yep, this is older technology here, and these guys are really ripping and roaring. It's just great to have everyone watching this live right here and seeing these guys really go at it. It's true.
Now,
you see the style of these guys driving and how they have to handle these cars at different speeds, and it is just a blast to watch. Some people watching are like, wait a minute, you're supposed to be drifting around the turns? Well, that's just how it is here, folks. So with 14 laps remaining, they're going to keep it going.
Yeah, you would have to think as when you first start a track for the first time in your car class and you're doing a race and you're in a good position, you have a second thought of doubt in how you're racing your line because you haven't developed that line yet.
Bryce Simeon, Mark Winfield, 2x2 into turn one. Simeon got through there. Winfield had to back off. Sorry to cut you off there, Judson, but man, those guys were going side by side right into turn 1 and 2. Able to get out of there is Bryce Simeon, and that's the battle for 11th place right now. Is Mark Winfield still trying to work on Simeon?
Yeah, and you just have to think though is when you're on your first racetrack or a new racetrack and you're doing a race and you're not quite confident in your line, you have that bit of nervousness. You know, your feet get heavy, your arms get a little twitchy. You're not inputting the car exactly right. That's what these guys are feeling with how much this car can throw you at any instance.
And we may have saw just a little bit of that as Robert Simpkins gets loose coming out of the hairpin, and he loses a couple positions there. So unfortunate to see that. I'm going to take a look closer at his rear arrow. Looks like it might be damaged a little bit. Yep, he's got some damage in the rear. May have gotten tapped. That's the number 8 car of Robert Simpkins, running 9th place right now, trying to play catch-up as he had some issues there.
Fabian Gerber doing his wide line around on the back stretch into the Casino Triangle, trying to make up with the likes of John G. Hill.
Yeah, it's interesting to see those guys coming out of the spoon and what kind of line they choose to exit it, because I know they really want to make a great run, but you don't want to be lagging back there too much to try to set up your turn. But yeah, really interesting to see how much they really want to get a run on the next guy, as John G. Hill and Gerber heading into turn 1 and 2 right now. Will John G. Hill be able to hold them off, you think, through the S's?
Fabian Gerber has been under pressure since the beginning of this race. If it was on defense or where he chooses to attack, he's been braking late, using the extreme components of these tires as he's going around the back or the front stretch to turn 15, where you're full out. I would imagine his tires are starting to get a little bit more, iffy. The car's starting to jump around a little bit, and meanwhile, while he's doing that, he's trying to force that car to attack on John G. Hill. I think it's going to be challenging, but it is possible.
Yeah, it is possible. 13 laps to go. This is the time where you really got to buckle down and be able to run your consistent laps as they're thrashing it around the hairpin right now. I mean, it's just real important, like you said, don't let your feet get too heavy. You really got to have that good throttle control here. Just try to keep the same demeanor you would have in a practice, and don't work yourself up too much. As 12 laps is plenty of time to be able to make a run. As Fabian Gerber coming out of the spoon right now, can he get a run and try to make a pass here coming into Casino Triangle? Can it be done, folks? Stay tuned.
I mentioned at Sao Paulo that it's, you make up gains, little increments at the time in Sao Paulo unless the guy in front of you makes a mistake. Here in Suzuka, it emphasizes the mistakes. Mistakes create huge distance. And Fabian Gerber now right on the bumper of John G. Hill as they're coming around the Casino Triangle to the front stretch yet again. And with increments of throttle control, changes can really make a mistake. So you're talking about centimeters of difference in how you're inputting this throttle control can completely decimate your lap.
Yeah, no question about it. We're going to keep our eye on that battle. But we got Richard Ross, Barry West fighting it out with Gary Larson here for that 14th position. These guys have been battling pretty close all day. So it'll be interesting to see how they play that out. I know Richard Ross got that number 12 car running 15th. Seems like he should be doing a little bit better, but maybe he had some issues there. All three of them heading into Casino Triangle right now. See if they can get a good launch up. This is Ross gets a little bit loose coming out of there. They're going to maybe lose a position to Barry West. Barry West is licking his lips right now. They're going to go into turn one. Richard Ross with the move on the inside. It's not going to be enough as he backs off a little bit, trying to loop it back out, trying to make another run at it, coming out of the exit into the S's.
And there's that patience play coming into it too. You see an opportunity in front of you, but you're not in striking distance. So then you have to wait yet more and more and more. Think about how that would tax your brain if you just want to have that overtake done to gain a position to do well.
Well, you're coming out of the Casino Triangle, you're heading down the long straight, you're heading into turn one. You really want to get around someone before you head into the S's. Otherwise, like you said, it's just a waiting game on whether or not you can set another pass up. But very important, that long stretch there going into turn one, and whether or not these guys are able to make a pass is that definitely comes.
Fabian Gerber has a run down the front stretch with John G. Hill. He was able to close it up. He actually blipped a little bit on his throttle coming out of the S and created a little bit more distance. There's that mistake that happened again because he was within tenths of a second, hundredths of a second behind that of John G. Hill. He really thought he had it.
Gerber 0.2 faster on that lap than Hill. 152.6 for the Gerber on that last lap. Very impressive.
That Bryce Simeon in it, engaged with Mark Winfield. This has been a battle of all day, hasn't it, Matt?
Yeah, the battle for 11th place with Simeon and Winfield. Wow, these guys have been going at it. Lucky enough, they've been able to keep it nice and clean. They're just feeling each other out here. They're heading through the S's with 11 laps remaining. Ken Winfield past Simeon, maybe even Howard to get up in that top 10 position. You have to wait and find out as they navigate through the S's. Very tricky part of the track, especially with a car like this. Give it too much throttle at the wrong time and around you go. They're able to navigate it.
Man, it's impressive how Mark Winfield was able to navigate turn 9 there with a little bit more power through the turn than that of Bryce Simeon. Bryce Simeon slow out of the hairpin as Mark Winfield got on the throttle too quick. Yep, whoopsie
That's what it takes.
There's that mistake.
That's what we talk about, that throttle control. You want to get up to speed so quickly, and you know you have the power to do so, but is the car set and stable and pointing straight when you're on that throttle? That's the question. As it looks like Simeon got a little loose there coming out of the spoon. Will Winfield be able to make a good exit? Mediocre, as they're going to try to log another lap. 10 more laps to go here for Winfield. Try to get up on the back of Simeon and try to make a pass before this one finishes out.
Matt Pawlowski has been able to take care of business, Matt, since we've last checked in. He was about 5 to 6 seconds.
Yeah,
but he's 9-second gains over Nuno Moreira. So it looks like he's taking care of business and is on his way to another top finish, unless Moreira has something to say.
Well, I'm looking at gaps right now. His lap car almost got in the way of Pawlowski there. Holy cow, I'm looking at the gap. It's been running at about an 8-second. Now it's down to about 7.5 seconds as some of that lap traffic has gotten in the way of our leader, Matt Pawlowski, in the number 5 car. Wow. Got to be careful with some of those back markers. But Nuno Moreira is also going to have to feed his way through some of the lap traffic as he goes really wide, trying to avoid and does a flying Scotsman on 130R, heading into the Circus Triangle. Holy cow, good thing he's able to keep it stable as he gets on through past the lap traffic. That was scary. That was a heart stopper.
You're going to see the likes of John G. Hill. Meanwhile, Matt, the difference between Gerber and Hill, I mentioned that Gerber might have the tires that aren't going to be there for the race to attack John G. Hill, but Hill is actually showing some signs that the tires, the structural integrity of these tires are becoming that of Jello. It's creating some understeer as he's going through the turns. It's most notably as they're exiting the S on the way through Degner Curve. John G. Hill, it looks like Gerber soon should have the opportunity to pass up on John G. Hill.
Yeah, we're keeping our eye on it right now. It's one of the closest battles here on the track thus far. Under 10 laps remaining. Ken Gerber try to make a run here. The gap's down to half a second. They're heading in the Casino Triangle right now. Exit is the most important here. Keeping the car stable. Don't want to run over those bumpers too much, as you've got a quick right-hander there that's really dicey coming through the start-finish line. Let's see if Gerber can make a run here.
One of the noticeable features between John G. Hill and Gerber is just a slight difference in camber in those rear meets. You'll see that John G. Hill's running a little bit more negative camber than that of Fabian Gerber. Those obviously have huge impacts on how heat is distributed amongst those tires. And that might be the factor that's going into the Gerber-Hill scenario. But also, it's stiffness of suspension between the two cars can really put a lot of stress on these cars, as Gerber has a little bit of oversteer exiting the S's.
Yeah, will that be just enough for Gerber to catch up? Probably not. But I know Gerber sees those things like that, and he's just looking for any opportunity to be able to take advantage of. And I thought something was going to happen there, but Gerber gets a little bit loose there under the overpass. Going to be coming into the hairpin. This is where he can make up a lot of time or lose a lot of time.
Gerber, you know, when he sees those mistakes, he hops on the throttle a little too much, and that's where you see a little bit of the twitch of the oversteer, and he has to catch it.
Yeah, that's hard to control as a driver. You want to get up there as quick as possible. You see some mistakes ahead of you. You feel like you can take advantage of it, and sometimes it works against you. I know that feeling very well. We got some smoke in there. Somebody must lay down some smoke there coming out of the exit of the spoon. Hopefully no lap traffic is getting in the way of this great battle. It's now.
Oh, no, that's Sam Doby, who's just up in 6th place. Must have had a mistake, bit of oversteer through spoon. Now John G. Hill and Gerber are within, getting into striking distance of Sam Doby.
Yeah, we're looking at the three-way battle for 6th position. Hill 2.5 seconds behind Doby, and Gerber, as we know, right behind Hill. So this
Just note that Hill was 6 seconds behind Doby, so that mistake literally killed off 4 seconds. Hill now needs to get Gerber off his rear end so that he can focus on Doby if he wants to get up to the top 6 positions.
Yeah, no doubt. And at this time of the race with 8 laps left, you're really looking at the leaderboard. You really want to try to get, your top 10, your top 5, any type of position at this point is well worth it. So you're just battling. At this point, you've logged your laps and you've done your homework, and now you're looking for any opportunity you can, and just try to be real smooth with it and take your chance when you can. Just trying to see if there's anything else big going on. We're going to stick it right here with John G. Hill and Fabian Gerber, as some of the guys have kind of filtered out here. We'll just run right through it as we keep an eye on this. 17th place with 17 car, Bo Decker. Barry West 16, Richard Ross 15th place with Gary Larson in 14th. Randy Hedges 13th. Mark Winfield 12th. Simeon 11th. Howard 10th. Simpkins 9th. Gerber 8th. There's John G. Hill and Doby 7th and 6th. Vasquez 5th, and our very own Jimmy Broadbent running 4th place right now. Roy Cunningham 3rd place. Nunio Moria 2nd place. And Matt Pulowski, very impressive here, is running 1st place. And he's got the lead on Nunio. So it's his race, folks. If he can lock it up and keep it clean amongst the lap traffic, as John G. Hill.
Gerber. Holy cow, they were going too wide into the entry of the Casino Triangle, that of John G. Hill and Fabian Gerber. But that mistake alone, going too wide right then and there, puts Gerber way out of striking distance of turn 1. John G. Hill licking his lips at the sight that Gerber would try to attack in such a place that I don't think would yield any result 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah, but these guys are gambling guys, and they'll take any odds they can get.
Gerber already reeled them back in, though. It's actually impressive how once that mistake happened, they separated in distance, and now Gerber's back up on it.
Yeah, going through the S's, it's just, like we said, depending on your line, depending on your throttle input, you can save a lot of time or lose a lot of time. And you don't want to get caught doing what the guy in front of you is doing. You don't want to get caught playing monkey see, monkey do. They're heading into the hairpin right now.
Notice how Gerber is still able to allow his brakes, roll his brakes into the turn, gain up all that distance. He's far more aggressive than that of John G. Hill.
And same Dobie getting some wheel spin there. Coming out of the spoon, gets a little bit of loose. He's got to be careful because John G. Hill and Gerber are right behind him. If he screws up, he could lose 2 positions.
Sam Dobie was increasingly, he attacked everything at the beginning of this race, and now it's been consistent through spoon curve that he's been experiencing oversteer. He better take care with his throttle inputs, or his race could be over, or he would also open up the door for John G. Hill to even get into that striking distance zone with Bobby and Gerber close behind, so it could be a loss of 2 positions just like that.
Yeah, no question about it. We're just going to check back in real quick with Gary Larson. He's trying to hold off Richard Ross, and this is for the 14th position. These guys, looks like Gary's got some front end damage now. We have seen from practice that if you go off track here and you get it back on and you're going too fast, what the car will do is rock back and forth. The ride height's not very good, and you'll end up damaging that front wing, which can play a big part here as far as drafting and your downforce for turning. So got to really be careful. Even if you go off track, you don't hit a wall or anything, you can still cause damage to the front end. And as we see Gary Larson's front end, he's got that issue now.
Yeah, and that's even more amplified if a trait that's going on with iRacing right now is people are too reliant on the downforce to maintain grip. The more downforce you obviously can take turns a lot faster and manage your oversteer. A lot of people actually use downforce to fine-tune their oversteer inputs as they're racing around the course. But if you don't have that mechanical grip where you find it in your bound stiffness and spring rate, that what Matt just talked about will be amplified tenfold.
Yeah, that's very true. Your ride height with some of these tracks is different. Yeah, you could beach this thing too if you hit the wrong curve. That would be horrible. But big decisions have to be made with this setup.
Great mechanical grip setups will allow you to be able to still drive at a good pace without with damage in your front wing. As Gerber is now again attacking on the outside of John G. Hill into the Casino Triangle. He's got to run. John G. Hill has to play very defensive as Gerber's got to run. He took a very different line through the S's, was able to accelerate far earlier in the apex. They're playing the defensive line in the out. Gerber dipping onto the outside. He's taking the outside. He's even with John G. Hill. Can John G. Hill play defensively into turn 1? Gerber rolling right around the outside. This could be the move of the race. He was unable to hold it. John G. Hill staying on the inside. Gerber just feathering the acceleration as they're exiting turn 1. Oh my gosh, defensive move by John G. Hill. Way to keep it in there. He really wants that number 7 spot, and Gerber, him too, almost overtaken on the outside.
And there where we saw it, where a guy actually defended going into turn 1. I was hoping we'd see that as some past races with some different types of cars here. We didn't see that. We just see people getting blown by. Uh-oh, here comes Gerber again.
Yeah, he has to wait getting through turn 9 here and around turn 10 and brake hard on the airpin. If he's close behind John G. Hill, he can duck into the inside and be able to overtake through the hairpin. He was able to manage his speed into the hairpin far better than John G. Hill right now. That's the braking difference between the two. But John G. Hill accelerating out with ease puts a distance back in between Gerber and Hill.
Man, just thinking back on that turn 1 defensive play there, is he was really holding on the inside and just very well played. You didn't see any shenanigans about moving around. You stick to one lane. That gives the other guy the clear to take the other lane. These guys are really respectful drivers, and it's just all about positioning. They understand that. And as Gerber's looking to use that draft again here in the 130R, very slippery corner.
Here they go again. Gerber taking wide, stays close to the first apex, and accelerates through the second apex to get a run. However, he had to hold up as he was riding over the bumper of the second apex in the Casino Triangle. Is he close enough? They're taking the defensive line again. John G. Hill knows he just has to stick to the inside, and Gerber will unable to go on the outside. But he keeps his line in between Gerber and turn 1.
That's some defensive driving right there. That is awesome racecraft.
Yeah, and I think what happened there was John G. Hill expected Gerber to be a lot closer than he was there going into turn one, and Gerber wasn't really close to him, so John G. Hill said, well, I'm going to come on over to this left side and make sure I get this turn in well, because the defensive line really wasn't that necessary there, as Gerber wasn't able to make a good enough run, but heading through the S's now.
And it's literally, think about this, Matt, Fabian Gerber just paused for a split second, a fraction of a second on his throttle exiting Casino Triangle, and his run is completely decimated.
Oh man, you know, that's all it takes with these cars. They're so powerful, and it all depends on when you get on the throttle here. Heading into the, whoa, as Gerber gets a little loose, he's going to spin it around.
All the way around. Shit.
Spins it all the way around, trying to recover. He's probably looking in his rearview mirror. I don't think anyone's coming up. Oh, Simpkins looks at this as an opportunity, as Simpkins is looking for that 8th spot. Gerber trying to get back up to race pace. Hopefully he can get those tires cooled off in time.
Yep, no, that's way too much of a hope. Tires do not just cool down. But where is Simpkins' car set up at? He has a huge damage on the rear spoiler. What's going to play out? Crappy tires or a bad wing?
Yeah, you never know. Maybe if Simpkins can ride long enough behind Gerber, you know, that some of that aero damage won't matter as much. The question is if Simpkins is able to get around Gerber, then what?
Well, it looks like Simpkins navigated Spoon without problem. That downforce where it is absolutely needed the most through those turns. It looks like that downforce is not playing a huge impact. And it also seems like his camber is pretty aggressive too, so that tire, as he's putting a lot of weight on the outside turn, it looks like the tire is matching up pretty nice, and he's maintaining speed through the turns.
Yep, that's right. With only 3 laps remaining, Ken Simpkins try to salvage and get 8th position here after having some earlier issues. We know John G. Hill now is plenty far ahead Gerber, with Gerber with his past little spin out there. But it mixes things up a little bit. Now we got a battle against Gerber and Simpkins.
Gerber has been engaged in warfare here the entire race. If we remember back in the beginning, he was defending, and then mistakes happened, and now he's in the attacking role. And now he's got the likes of Simpkins right on his rear bumper again. Simpkins driving completely radical lines because his car setup is that of not what he started with. Gerber is managing tires. These two are going to be racing completely separately, and there's going to be way different throttle inputs for sure.
Yeah, that you're right about that. As the race plays out here with different guys getting in different situations, with trying to handle their cars different ways, makes for a very dynamic race. I just have to mention Matt Pawlowski, our leader here. I know we haven't mentioned him too much, but just because he's way out in front here, he's got almost a 12-second lead here. But Matt Pawlowski was able to throw down a 149.5 on his last lap.
Wow.
He's pushing here. He's pushing. He's giving it everything he's got. We love to see it. And with 2 laps remaining, if barring any unforeseen incidents here, looks like he'll be taking home the victory. But Nuno Moreira not take anything away from him with that number 1 car running 2nd place. And he's got a hell of a gap on 3rd. But, man, just some really good racing out here.
Yep, and as we're doing some house cleaning, 11th place on down is a lap behind at this point of the 18-car field. Similar to Sao Paulo, I think half the field was lapped down at this point. So a lot of aggressive driving in this top field, a lot to be learned here. And, of course, this track is probably the ruthless track here in iRacing.
Yeah, and as we've seen with, like you said, some of the guys lapped down, I know that has to do with some of the issues, but it just goes to show how much improvement is left for these guys. And Matt Pawlowski will even tell you that he's got room to improve, as Matt Pawlowski going across the start-finish line to start his white flag last lap here at Suzuka for the Classic Lotus 79 race. Matt Pawlowski going to bring it around one more time. He's got some lap traffic to deal with here on the S's.
Yep, Matt Pawlowski communicated to that driver. He says, not going to try to lap you, Bryce. He's just going to fall in line and cruise for the finish. Other cars, the battle between Gerber and Simpkins have settled down. Simpkins now a couple seconds behind Gerber. Looks like everybody fell in line, and as predicted, overtakes came at a very big premium. We were able to catch the very few that happened, and what a great way to finish up the race.
Oh, what a great race all around as they're coming through their final lap here. Matt Pawlowski showing really just setting the standard here. Being able to put down 150s, 151s on average. He had that 149, very impressive. Morera with a 149.7 his previous lap. So just a really good showing by a lot of these guys. Great battling. Not to mention Jimmy Broadbent is out there running fourth, and he's been able to keep it pretty clean. But Matt Pawlowski coming through the last sections of the track here, and Suzuka going through 130R now, handles it very well. Heading through the circus triangle. And there he is, folks. Number 5 car, Matt Pawlowski, going to bring home the victory here as he dances it around a little bit there just to show the fans he knows they're watching, and he appreciates you guys out there watching him. Nuno Moreira coming in second place. Very good showing. Roy Cunningham, 11 car, going to finish this out in third place as he's just trying to finish out the final sections. Going through 130R right now, heading into the circus triangle. Very good showing by Roy Cunningham. Going to be picking up third place as he thrashes it around the chicane there. Bringing it home, finishing out your podium, Roy Cunningham, the number 11 car. Very impressive. And here he is, folks, none other than Jimmy Broadbent, you know him as Jimmy_BEE on Twitch.
The Stinging Bee.
Yep, the Stinging Bee. You're probably following along his in-car cam right now as he's going to bring it around. Picking up that fourth position with that number 9 car, Jimmy Broadbent. Great showing out there by one of our own, Jimmy Broadbent's. And Gene Francios Vasquez. Is he battling with Sam Doby? He's battling for Sam Doby to the end. Who's it going to be? It's going to be Vasquez picking up 5th place with Doby getting that 6th place. John G. Hill.
Congrats to Vasquez.
Yeah,
Vasquez back-to-back top 5s.
Yeah, very nice by Vasquez. Doby with 6th place. John G. Hill coming in 7th place. Fabian Gerber picking up 8th place. Robert Simpkins, we know he had his issues, but holy cow, can you believe it? 9th place, finishing out in the top 10. Julio Howard going to be picking up 10th place. And that rounds out the top 10. Some of those guys like Randy and Joachim and Gary Larson a lap down, but they'll finish it out 11, 12, 13 respectively. And as we bring it to a close here, holy cow, what did you think about the race?
Yeah, it's a different look than what we experienced over at Sao Paulo. We had close battles throughout the race. At Sao Paulo with a lot of overtaking. Here it was a premium. This came down to driver's skill, so the appreciation on how people can navigate some of the more technical aspects of this race. The S-curves, Dunlop curve, Denner curve, hairpin. Man, every curve here after first turn is an absolute nightmare for drivers, especially in these 79 Lotuses. So to see this driving ability, these skills, it's absolutely fantastic, and what a great way to spend our Thursday. Grip TV Nation, always fantastic watching with you guys. Jimmy and Matt, always a real pleasure. Let's get Jimmy in here. I want to crunch some facts down with him.
Yep, that's right. As this one gets closed up here, and Jimmy, man, picking up 4th place here with that number 9 car in this huge race here. He's going to bring it on around. He's doing his victory lap, and we may be able to get a talk with him. Jimmy, it's Matt Malone and Judson Kane up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hello, I have a copy.
Holy cow, Jimmy, great to have you here as we try to get a little bit of insight from one of the drivers, one of our very own Grip TV drivers. We saw you out there. You finish up 4th place. What a great race all around. Great battles throughout the field. You're able to pick up 4th place. How do you feel about that?
It feels like a win after last week, I tell you that. I made the one mistake that was a little bit scary. Going down to the hairpin, just ran it over and went a bit wide. Lost only a second, didn't spin or anything, didn't even get off track, just scared myself a bit. Otherwise, I was really nice setup, felt great, just logging laps, and I came home 4th, so I'm ecstatic.
Jimmy, okay, so we just wrapped up Suzuka, fantastic driving, mate. Again, you've demonstrated a developed racing line in a short week to turn around to get ready for this race. And as we predicted, there wasn't much, as far as battling go. It was a very premium for overtakes to start happening. So it really came down to the quality and consistency that you put together for this race. You're one of the big gainers, +5 in position rankings, only second to the Hauer, who's been big gainer every week so far. How do you feel about that race line and just sticking into your zone and just being patient?
Well, a lot of my kind of position game came at the start. I had a pretty decent start. Nearly ran into someone on the right though, which is a bit scary because the car went to go right. Put it around the outside, getting competitions there, and then just waited behind. I think it was Fabian Gerber and I think it was Simon Doby from memory,
Yep.
and just watched those guys fight it out. And then one of them went off, and then I was just left with Fabian, and then he made a mistake, and then it was just left for me to kind of drive on my own. And then I'm not quite sure. I think when Fabian went off, he took Simon with him because I saw him go off, and I saw kind of something go off in the mirror, but I didn't see if it was him or not. It was a bit sad that it ended that way, but I ended the race and they didn't. So I guess that shows how much the consistency is paying off right now.
Well, it's important to remember in Sao Paulo, just to remind our viewers, one of the things that really took you out was exposing your car to too much battle and tire pressure or tires heating up into an abnormal level where it becomes quite a nuts car. Not that these cars aren't nuts anyways. Today, you've been able to just maintain it, run cool and calm. It's night and day between what happened in Sao Paulo and here. Was that just in a lot of preparation in doing your line? It seemed like you're exemplifying a lot more patience, letting people make mistakes. Is that something we're going to see coming into next week?
Well, something I took away from last week is John G. Hill wrote in a forum post kind of going over my driving, saying that I needed to try and leave a bit on the table metaphorically, try and calm it down a bit throughout the race. And I tried that. I just tried going about 90% instead of going 100%, and it really paid off. I didn't feel like I was struggling at all. There was one point where I started to turn it up again, and I noticed I was being gained on by the guy behind me. Put in 51.9, I think, which is my best lap of the race, and then cooled it back down again after I noticed I was going a bit too quick. But I think modulating pace is really important at the moment. You need to really be careful of how fast you're going and how the tires are feeling. You can really feel it through the S's if the tires are going to die. So yeah, just learning the car is helping immensely.
Yeah, Judson brings up a great point about keeping away from battles. We saw quite a few battles going on during the race, and like you said, you start battling it out, you get those tires heated up a little bit too much, you're not able to run real nice and consistent laps, and that did bite some of the people later on in the race when they spun it around, got those tire temps a little up too high. But I saw a little bit of this in practice as far as going off track and having to damage that front spoiler. We saw that during the race, a couple of guys getting off track and then having to return to track, not hitting a wall or anything, but suffering from some damage from that front wing. We didn't see everything out there. Did you have any issues going off track and having to get it back on? You're able to keep your car nice and clean?
I only got two off tracks in the whole race, and one was at the first techno going a tiny bit wide onto the green stuff. One was at the second techno going tiny bit wide onto the green stuff again. I didn't have any off tracks, proper ones. I had one little moment going over the hairpin where I went over it instead of going around it, but I didn't spin, didn't actually get off track, and didn't actually go off a course at all. So my car was pretty ship-shape all the way through.
And I think
Jimmy,
that's one of the keys, that's for sure, to be able to keep your car clean. Great job out there.
Definitely.
Jimmy, as far as the series goes, Pawelski has just been flat out consistent, ice cold. I mean, this guy's exemplifying, just running away with it. He's developing quite a race package every week. We had some newcomers that I don't think you've been familiar with racing by. Nuno Moreira, second place. Roy Cunningham, who's been in a race before, but not near you. But there's this Francois Bascus, back-to-back top fives. Is there any concerns as far as the league developments go, seeing that kind of consistency as far as your campaign's going to go?
No, I'm not too bothered with the campaign. I've joined late, so I'm not really bothered about the championship at the moment. I'm just trying to. I set myself a goal each time I go into a race. I want to try and finish in the top. I said top 10 for this race and managed to do that, and it's come in the top 5, which is, again, very happy about. But just trying to set kind of rivals throughout the race really helps me gain pace. So I'm not just looking at my own and comparing myself to Matt, because I know realistically I'm not going to catch Matt. He's so quick at the moment, and I haven't got that kind of pace yet. So I'm just setting people that people around me, trying to beat them, and then focusing from there.
But nonetheless, Jimmy Broadbent setting the bar to top 10, finishes top 5 with a fourth place position. Just setting that bar way higher, man. What are we going to expect next week? What, a top 3 position?
We talking
Don't speak too
podium?
soon. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, I can
Matt,
see
get
a
the
lot
fireworks.
of I can see a lot of friendly rivalries brewing here in this as season 1 comes to a close. We're getting our feet wet here, and as a big start of season 2 starts to develop, you're going to see a lot of these names pop up here and there and be battling it out. Definitely like Vasquez out there, really showing some consistency. But yeah, all around great race, great fun to watch here up in the booth. Me and Judson with our lemonades, and it's just a magical thing.
You know that them name Malone. They're gonna find you soon. You know that.
Oh boy!
Lemonade
So
trees.
I see you brought your car in behind garage. Go get it tuned up. Make sure they get that motor checked out, and hopefully you can pass the post-race tech inspection. Make sure everything was legit there.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed I will.
Alrighty then. Well, that's Jimmy B, our very own Grip TV main driver, commentator, all around multifaceted streamer racer, and there he is, folks, 4th position. Holy cow, Judson! What a wild race.
Yes, it was. You're talking about, again, this is all technical. I mean, this is what it's all about as far as these drivers go. So we love to see overtaking. I'm sure that's going to come next week. And yeah, what a great way to cap off a Thursday. It's one of my favorite series. I hope all of you all enjoyed it, and can't wait to see you next week.
That's right, as we close it out here at Suzuka, Grip TV signing off. Man, what a great day it was. Thanks everybody for joining us in chat. This was live on Twitch, and later on you can see this content on demand at various locations throughout the internets, as we're spread out pretty far for you folks. Just so you, wherever you are in the internet world, you'll be able to find Grip TV. Check our YouTube channels for content on demand. And just a great race once again. Pulowski, the winner. Matt Pulowski, the winner of this Lotus Grand Prix right here at Suzuka. And as we sign out, be looking for Grip TV more and more coming in the coming up weeks. Don't miss out Mustangs this Sunday, Strength of Field race with your very own Matt Malone. Hey, that's me. And lots more to come too, as we got Super Diomiro running the Endurance Pro Series coming up this Saturday.
Who-
Don't want to miss that. What
Who
else?
does an endurance race, and who does it at night, for God's sakes?
That's our very own Timo Westendahl. You know him as Super Diomiro, and he's got the he's got the balls to do it, folks. So you're gonna not want to miss that one. It's gonna be night at Sebring with a bunch of cars, bunch of laps being thrown down. It's gonna be a great time, but lots more to come in the coming days and weeks and months ahead for Grip TV. But as for this one closes out, I just want to thank everyone again for watching. And we'll see you next time. Judson, it was beautiful. Let's go down and go to the concession stand. See if we
No,
can meet
dude,
any ladies.
I don't know what's your deal with concession stands. No, we're going down. We're gonna go get some sushi, early bird sushi here in Suzuka, and we're gonna go to a real restaurant. You can't live off the concessions, Matt. It's like you take all the crap from the hotel rooms, and of course I get billed for it. Why can't you just be a normal person and go to a restaurant with me?
Well, if we're going to go get some sushi, I'll take mine deep fried.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Just sign the thing off. We'll talk to you later, Grip TV Nation.
Alrighty then, you heard it right here from Judson and from me. Thanks for joining, everybody. And this has been a Grip TV broadcast, and you can find a lot more on the YouTube channel and right here on Twitch. Until next time, we'll see you later. Bye-bye now, Grip TV Nation.